Today we're going to be counting Tiferet of Hod, and we mentioned how Hod is not necessarily the glory, but also can be interpreted and translated as thanking. Hodaya is to thank, and also Hoda'a, to admit. Two qualities that we have to work on. But the Tiferet Hod, we mentioned a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, the Tiferet is beauty. And Hod is also another way of defining beauty. Like we say, Hod ve'hadar. Hod ve'hadar is another way of defining something that is beautiful. Now, when a person admits, we talked about it yesterday, when a person admits, doesn't matter right now for what, but is in the motion of admitting, the idea behind the admitting is something that is way above your natural comprehension. Not a lot of people, they have it in them to admit. With the camera. Not a lot of people have that in them to admit. When a person admits, he elevates himself to a much, much higher level. And when a person is in the level of admitting, in the motion of admitting, then what happens is that he gains a certain glory around him, this hod, like a shine that surrounds him. Now, like a halo, as I say, halo. When a person is in the moment when he's admitting, then there's like a halo around him. It's not a halo, it's more like hod. Hod is like a glory or a splendor that surrounds the person. And when a person, excuse me?
An aura, maybe?
Yeah, like an aura. So this is another way of explaining what means hod. Hod is like it says when Moshe Rabbeinu went down from the mountain that his face was glowing. It says also, it uses the word hod. So, but nevertheless, when a person is in the motion of admitting, then usually it will be done in a level of humility and humbleness. We talked about it today, and modesty. When a person does that, because to admit you have to be a little bit humble, you have to be in a level of humility. Then what happens is, then he receives this glory, this hod, this level of hod ve'adar that surrounds the person. Now, we mentioned that the meaning is not only admitting of me being wrong, is the admitting of somebody else's existence around me. That's not only me. There's other people around me, and I'm admitting in that they also deserve a place. Now, since we mentioned the Tiferet, many times we translated Tiferet to be beauty, something that is beautiful. But Hod is another way of translating beauty. But Tiferet is going to be more the actual beauty, and Hod is the aura, the glow that is around the person that is glowing in a beautiful way. So when you have the combination of Tiferet of Hod, Tiferet is the actual beauty of the emotion and the action, but the Hod itself is this shine that surrounds the person. Sometimes you see an individual and you say, wow, this person's like shining, radiating. You see a certain individual, specifically at tzaddik, you see the face, there's a certain light on the face. Where is this light coming from? Specifically when a person is humble and a person is behaving in a level of humility and modesty, like Moshe Rabbeinu, then the face starts shining. And you don't see it in a physical way, but a holy person, you see like kind of like a light around the person. Everybody wants to be close to the person because, not because he's a celebrity, because something radiating out of this person. You want to be next to him. Why? Because the person brings himself to a level of Anava and humility and modesty that this power of Hod shines around him. Now, Where do we see the example for that? It was with Moshe Rabbeinu. When Moshe Rabbeinu went down of the mountain, then it says, Karan or panav. His face was shining. Nobody was able to look at him. For 40 years, Moshe Rabbeinu was wearing a mask, because any person that would look at him right away would get blinded. So Moshe Rabbeinu was constantly covered, and only when he went into the tent, he would lift the veil up like a convertible, and nobody was able to see his face for 40 years. Now, when it says that his face was shining, it doesn't mean that his face was beautiful. Rather, the face was shining. There was a certain light, a certain aura that was shining out of the face. Now, how do you reach to that level that you have a shine coming out of you? Is when you're able to do a tikkun, a rectification to the midah of hod in your nefesh. I mentioned yesterday how there's different midot of the nefesh. And the midah of, when a person does the rectification, the tikkun for the hod of the nefesh, then he shines, he radiates out this beautiful godly light. Now, how do you really rectify the midah of hod of the nefesh? Is by admitting, bring yourself to the level of hoda'ah, but when it comes from a very deep place, and if it comes from a deep place, it will come from a place of humility, of anava, of tzniut, of being modest. That's the real deep hoda'ah. And again, hoda'ah is to admit. How you really apply that is when you give everybody the right respect. Most people, especially when they're somebody, they disrespect everybody around them. And unfortunately, many people, that's their way they behave. They just disrespect everybody. Very few people know how to respect not only the great ones, it's to respect also the ones who are less great. This is how you really reach to a level. In Hebrew, it's called hachna'ah. We spoke about it today in the morning. We were trying to find the right word. But hachna'ah really is a level of humility, that I'm holding myself in a very humble way. So by default, I will respect everybody around me, because they're still a human being. They still have something good in them. They might be having a lot of bad things, but I see the good thing and I'm able to respect them. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have respect to people. He had the utmost respect to everybody. He was able to talk to everybody. And you see, where do you see that he had respect to everybody, even the worst of the worst? Look at soon we're going to read the argument that he had with Korach. You would think that Moshe Rabbeinu right away would slap him across the face. Or if not slap him across the face, right away give an order, one of the goons, get his head, take his head off. How dare does he talk to me? I'm the king. But you see that even as how he approached him in such a chutzpah, Moshe Rabbeinu still had respect to him and says, okay, listen, okay, maybe you're right, let's see what you have to say. But nevertheless, Moshe Rabbeinu is our example. Moshe Rabbeinu is a manifestation of the Tiferet of Hod, and Moshe Rabbeinu is when he came back into this world to continue his path, he came in Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We know the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that we're going to be celebrating the Hilula the next day after tomorrow. Then he's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says on himself that he's a reincarnation of Moshe Rabbeinu, and he's the Hod Shebehod, the glory of the glory. So Moshe Rabbeinu is the ultimate example of what it means to be humble, to have humility, to be tzanua, to be modest. And the way he applied it, how he was able to rectify the midah of hod shebanefesh, is only by having respect to other people. Unfortunately, you see that many people, especially if they have a little bit of something going on for themselves, they don't give respect to anybody. And they actually disrespect most people. They look at people from above, like as if the rest of the people are garbage because they're not in their level. And then on the other hand, you see that people usually will give respect to somebody who's great, but won't give so much respect to somebody who's not that great. Nevertheless, the way to refine and to rectify the midah or my nefesh of hod has to be done in a way that I'm applying this level of anava, of humility, and admitting to the existence of everybody. Well, it doesn't matter right now if they're better, good or less. And this to say is that I'm giving respect to every person. Now when I do that, when I behave from this level of humility, then what I do is I bring alive this hod. Hod is like this glory, there's something that is shining around me. But when I behave like that, that's when I bring it on me. Sometimes you see great tzaddikim that how they accept everybody, they respect everybody. You see like light around them, they're surrounding with light, like a crown. This is this glory. Needless to say, the Tiferet of Hod is the beauty, is when you do it in a beautiful way. And you see sometimes, you see examples, there were great tzaddikim in our generation, you could see it with their behavior. Go an hour away from here to Arav Abu Chatzera, the grandson of the Baba Sali. Look how he accepts everybody, always with a smile, always with respect, always with a great attitude, and many others that maybe you got the zchut to see them or not. But I'm talking about in our generations. I'm not talking about now 150 years ago. And you see great tzaddikim that the way how they accept their guests. I mean, a live example, you go now from here to Arav Abu Chatzera, but there are many other in our generation that you see how they accept. Not too far away, 20 years ago, 35 years ago, look at the Lubavitcher Rebbe in New York, how he would accept everybody, always with a smile. Doesn't matter who you are, how you look. This is a Moshe Rabbeinu. With humility, I'm not greater than you. You're also somebody, you also have feelings and emotions and a place in the world. And that's where you see that these great tzaddikim, they have this shine around them. Why? Because they know how to humble themselves. It's very easy to point out the bad in people. It's very easy to point the bad, much harder to point the good. But needless to say, when I do that, that's how I'm refining my sphira of the nefesh that is called Hod. And when I want to do it in the most nicest way, then I add the Tiferet Shebo, the beauty of the Hod. Now, practically saying, how do we practically apply that? Is that first of all, I want to look at these great men, these great tzaddikim, and learn from them. Look at them. I go and look at the great leaders. I'm not talking about the fake leaders. I'm talking about the great leaders of our generation, because it's easy. I'm saying our generation because it's easy to see them. I'm not going to tell you, go look at somebody who was a great leader 400 years ago. How am I going to see him? At least the leaders in my generations, if I don't see them face to face, I can see them on a video. But you see how they behave, and that's a role model. And you see the behavior is always with humbleness, with humility. I never saw a tzaddik raising his voice and screaming at somebody coming to him. Always talk soft, always with respect. So first of all, you want to see that and apply that. The next thing is that you want to apply the fact that you want to start developing an approach that you have respect for everybody. Doesn't matter who the person is. You know him, you don't know him, a great person, not a great person. First of all, have respect to a person. Because that's Moshe Rabbeinu's attitude. Whether the person is a complete wicked person, wrong in his actions, and it doesn't matter right now. First, you treat every person with respect. The Mishnah tells us, dan kol adam lekaf zchut. Always judge a person favorably. How do you judge a person favorably? You have respect to him. The Mishnah also tells every person that you greet, always greet them with a nice face. Before you know, later on you find out the person is a complete wicked person, or the behavior, the agenda of the person is distorted, and you deal with it appropriately. But you let Hashem deal with it. You have the obligation of, first of all, respecting everything. Everything and everyone, human beings, animals, creations, everything. Even most people, they know how to develop respect to people. They don't have respect to animals, they don't have respect to property, they don't have respect to many other things. You can see them, they have great respect to an individual. But when it comes to something else, somebody else's property, no, they don't care. Throw things on the floor, whatever it is. This is a level of disrespect. When you see a person even throwing dirt on the floor, or not caring about somebody else's property, sometimes how many times you see in a parking lot, a person will open the door, smash it into another car. This is disrespect. Somebody else's car. How would you wouldn't want somebody to smash your car. So the respect is not necessarily for me seeing a great man. Is having constantly respect to everything around me. There's somebody else in the universe but me. When I totally disrespect somebody's property, it's because I totally disregard the existence of that person. If I now smash somebody's car, damage their property, whatever it is, it's because I have total disrespect to the existence of that individual, that person has feelings and emotions, and it doesn't matter right now if the person is good or bad, or is good for me or not bad to me. First of all, you have the minimum of the minimum. This is how you really reach to the refinement of your midah of Hod Sheba Nefesh. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter right now how the person is behaving. You want to refine your midah. So it doesn't matter right now if the person deserves respect or not. This is not our issue to decide right now if the person deserves respect or not. It's almost like you see a doctor. It doesn't matter a doctor. This is kind of like a built-in in a doctor. Somebody is in need, they don't ask the person on the floor, excuse me, are you a nice person? You're not a person, I'm not going to treat you right now. The doctor right away, doesn't matter, let's save the person's life. Doesn't matter right now what's his gender, his race, he's a good, he's not. Look at the Israeli approach, whether it's in the army or the security forces. It's, I'm not supporting the taking care of terrorists, but that's what I'm not talking about. But you see that right away, first of all, let's help, and then we'll later on see what's going on. So we have to also have this agenda, this same way of behaving. That first of all, you respect everything around you. And I know I was talking a lot about human beings, but it's everything. It's also other people's time. It's people's property. It's even inanimates and animals. We talked about today in the class about Lashon Hara. Can you talk Lashon Hara about inanimates? Can you talk Lashon Hara? Can you slander an animal and talk Lashon Hara about an animal? No, you don't have to. Lashon Hara is Lashon Hara. Doesn't matter if you're talking to the wall. But nevertheless, same thing here. Your respect is for everything. First, let me respect the existence of what's in front of me. Then later on, we'll do already calculations. If the person deserves it, not deserve it, it's not up to me. Kadosh Baruch Hu is the judge. He's going to be the judge. I have to do the minimum. Why? Because it's nogea to my nefesh. It's refining my nefesh. B'ezrat Hashem practically starts developing this softness to know how to respect everything. And it starts, you know where? It starts with the little things, not with the big things. And to want to put it into action is you start applying it to very little things. When it comes to other people's property, to people's time, to the surrounding around you. You know, we live in a community, we have a beautiful shul. Some people you see they care, some people they leave behind them like as if there's a janitor here that cleans after them. No, it's respect for the place. You clean after you put things around. It's a place where you eat, it's a place where you pray, whatever it is. This is again the same idea of starting applying it. When you apply it in something small, then it starts affecting in much bigger things.